Welcome back. My name is John. This is NAR Outdoors, and I've got my follow-up review after getting a chance to use the RovyVon Angel Eyes E30 and E30 Pro. As you can see, I'm not a stranger to this flashlight brand. Been pretty happy with these two. Love this and the versions of it that don't have the side lights. This makes a great present for groomsmen, buddies' ears, whoever needs a good flashlight. It's super bright, like the USB charging, battery's plenty long. Let's get into the E30, because that's the new one on the block. I've been using these for the past 2 weeks. I've switched back and forth. I was going to do 2 weeks for each of them, but decided to skip that and just kind of switch back and forth, use one for 4 or 5 days and use the other for 4 or 5 days because they are very similar. Let's start off with just the E30 itself. A lot to like about this. I love the feel of the way it's made. I love these two little wings here. The LEDs are recessed, which is really nice. It is plenty bright, uses USB charging, USB-C charging. Not really happy with the way the AAA batteries are secured. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but it has a click thump. And bring it up to the mic and see. Which doesn't thrill me. I've mostly been using it with the LiPo, however. The AAA battery decreases the power output pretty substantially. Easy to get unlocked and locked, triple click of the elevated button there. And you still have the turbo type strobe light there. Do have a couple of pretty substantial criticisms, especially for EDC tactical use. So someone carrying this as a defensive light rather than just a daily task light. So aside from that shake, this button, if you don't hit it directly downwards, will actually bind. So if you're hitting it offset, it binds quite a bit, which is a little bit frustrating. And if you're using it for a tactical scenario, kind of a big deal. And then if you watch my other light videos, you know I despise strobe lights. I really don't think they have a place for just about any use outside of some really specific, narrow, highly trained scenarios. So I do wish that there was a way to change this so it was just a solid light as your turbo button. I was worried that this was going to slide down with use, potentially allowing for rotation. That was unfounded. And I have been plenty happy with the battery capacity of this. I really like the way this feels in the hand though. The material it's made out of is really solid. Just very smooth, very good hand feel. I like this finish too. I also really like their implementation of a light sensor. So unlike others like the Nightcore lights that have light sensors, which is only sensing upon initial activation, this is a constant sensor and a constant change of the brightness. It is selectable to be turned off. So yeah, not too dissatisfied for this. Couple little quibbles there. Things that I think are kind of a first generation issue. Happy with this for a task light, would not use this as a tactical light. I think they can do better, and I'm actually going to talk about that at the end of the whole video because it's kind of a combination of features. And then E30 Pro, the light similar size, similar weight, a little bit heavier, bit thicker here. The big change outside of adding in these additional LEDs, so I got the one with the red, the white, and the UV, is it has a good power meter, and then it is totally rechargeable, not the hybrid battery. which I really like actually. It does use their more classic button on the side. I find these work actually really well. I really like these. I think they should have found a way to incorporate that type of switch up here. This has the same issue, and perhaps more so than the regular E30, with binding with lateral, like any type of lateral pressure, any type of not complete straight down on clicking will cause this to bind. Now, if you watched one of my other videos about the night course, one of the big concerns I had with them, especially as a tactical light, is that if you managed to press both of the tail cap buttons at the same time, it wouldn't do anything. It was locked out. This does not have that problem. So if you manage to mash both, it's still gonna end up, in this case, strobing. Still has the half press for solid, full press for strobe, still has a good light sensor that's gonna adjust real time rather than just upon initial activation. Side lights, I've used the UV one a couple times. I do UV inspection of some things. I think they're kind of excessive. Again, so this one is not going to be a great tactical light, but it is going to be an okay practical light, especially depending on what your needs are. I do like that it's full LiPo, plenty bright, but some other criticisms I have is that the UI, the user interface between these two, is actually different, even though they're supposed to be in the same line, similar lights. So for instance, for this, it's a triple tap to lock and unlock. For this, it's a 5 times tap to lock and unlock. Not entirely certain why they did that. A little odd. It seems like maybe there were 2 different design teams working on this, and that's a little disappointing. That's something I'm really thrilled with. My recommendation to RovyVon is figure out these switches. They need some refinement before they're really ready for primetime use. B, I would make this available, the E30 non-pro, so without the side lights. I would make this one available as a full LiPo. I would ditch the AAA batteries and make it entirely rechargeable, but leave these little nubbies at the end. I really like those. And then I would make it so that you can program this particular switch, if you don't want to use strobe, to be full power only. I think that would make just an absolutely stellar general use light and a stellar tactical light. But until they can fix this switch and change this switch to a single type of activation, it's going to be limited to kind of EDC practical, everyday kind of task lighting. But I will say, I really like the way these feel. Like the way this material fits in the hand and feels is just absolutely stellar. If you're interested in purchasing one of these, knowing the limitations of it, there will be links below, and I'll have some links to these others. I still don't think any of this is ready for tactical prime time. I think that needs to be limited to that Surefire XT, and if you need additional features like these LEDs, you get something like one of these to add to it. But I'm going to talk about that more in my next video. I'm going to do a once over of all the flat flashlights I have with kind of some final recommendations. So yeah, stay tuned, like, subscribe. If you find any of this useful and are interested in one of these, if you purchase it through the below links, I get a little bit of a commission. It didn't increase your cost at all. And I'm really excited to see what the next generation of this, the V2, would be. Because again, I'm hoping that the manufacturers look at these videos and take some feedback into account, because this format right here with a full LiPo, keep these knobs, and probably switch this switch out to a switch of this style, because this style works pretty well. It doesn't bind. And then leave this one. This one doesn't seem to bind at all, but change the ability, make this programmable. and I think you're just going to have an outstanding flashlight. Anyway, stay tuned for more.
No roar!